Okay, so today and actually Tuesday as well, for Monday and Tuesday, we'll be talking about sections 6.1 and 6.2. I like to lump these together because they're all essentially the same types of problems, they just use a different tool. In 6.1, we use the law of sines, and in 6.2, we use the law of cosines to solve for missing sides and angles. So, to start off with, let's just talk a little bit about what's going to be happening in these two sections. So essentially the goal, which I've just mentioned up here, but let me give you a little bit more information, is we're now going to be given any sort of triangle. Could look like anything really. We can have obtuse angles, acute angles. And our goal is going to be to find all of the missing portions of this triangle. So usually we see capital A for that angle, capital B, capital C. It really doesn't matter what letters you use, but this is sort of the general way to do it. Sometimes I do have to kind of be a little more careful with the capitals C because it looks about the same, so I'll make it a little bit bigger. But essentially, capital letters are angles, and then the lowercase letters are side lengths. And lowercase letters are side lengths. A good habit to remember as well is that the side length opposite an angle. So for example, A is opposite from A, and they actually match letters. So that's good practice to be in. Okay, so let's get right into, well, actually, before we get right into anything, let's talk a little bit about another type of notation which you might not have seen for a little while, because I will be referring to this. So if you're given a triangle with some stuff filled in, for example, let's say you had, I'm just going to make this up, so it might not really be a triangle, but let's just say it was 13, 8, and 5. I think this might need to be 6 if I remember my triangle rules. Anyways, so let's just say this was your triangle. We would say that you are given, in this case, side, 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 or SSS. So if you remember from your geometry, this just means that we know something about all three sides and not about the angles. So if this was your problem, you'd have to solve for the angles. Alternatively, you might be given something like, let's say it was 13, 8, and then this angle looks like it's, 43 degrees. In this case, we would say this is side angle side because the angle comes in between the two sides. So if I'm going first to this side maybe, and then the angle, and then the other side. So that would be side angle side. Whereas if I'm given, let's say it was 8, 13, and then I got this angle, this would end up being, so this time we're given side, side angle because I could start here, and then I would go here. So I'm kind of going around this way, and then I end with the angle. Alternatively, you might see it backwards, and you might spell a bad word if you do it backwards. That's okay. SSA or ASS are both fine. The order doesn't really matter. And we're going to come back to all of these. You might remember different sorts of rules about all of them, and we will come back to those. So there's more. There's also could have, I won't draw the triangle for each, but you might have AAS. Whoops, that's not an S. Or you might have, or this could be SAA. or you could also do ASA. So if we were to write all of these out, just kind of as a reminder, again, this probably you remember this from geometry, but you could have SSS, you could have SAS, ASA, AAS, or SSA. And I just want to remind you of that because I will be referring to these throughout today's lesson. It'll be a slightly different from the way we refer to them in geometry, but they are going to come up. So that's why I wanted to remind you of those. All right, so this was a short video just to kind of give you a preview of what's coming up. In the next videos, we'll go through the law of sines and the law of cosines.